All right, so the next lesson is fairly quick, and it's just on quadratic inequalities. We're going to be looking at two types, and this one is in one variable. So here we only are looking at x. There's no y. So here, determine the solution set to the inequality x squared minus 4x plus 3 is greater than or equal to 0. So what I want to start by doing is making a graph, looking at what is the graph of this on my coordinate plane down here. So I know that it goes through 3. Whoops. 3 is my y-intercept. And I know it's an upward facing u because a is positive 1. So I might just try factoring this. X minus 3, x minus 1 is greater than or equal to 0. So I know that I have intercepts at 1 and at 3. If I really wanted to, I could find the vertex form for this. So my function is going to look something like that. I might just redraw that like this. Okay, so there it is, more or less. Not my best drawing, but you have the idea there. So when is this curve that I just drew greater than or equal to 0? What does that mean? Where does it equal 0? It equals 0 right along here. When is it greater than or equal to 0? This section here or this section here. So my solution set for this is that x is greater than or equal to 3, or x is less than or equal to 1. And in those regions where I've made it darker, you can see it is above or equal to the x-axis. All right, here's one for you to try. Very similar. X squared plus 5x, I would take away 6. When is that less than 0? So why don't you try that one and see if you get the right solution set. Okay, so hopefully you noticed that the intercept is at negative 6 down there, and you can factor this to be x plus 6, x minus 1. So that tells me that my intercepts for x are at negative 6 and at positive 1. So there and there. So this parabola is going to it's going to disappear down there and then come back up here like that. And so when is it less than 0? So that means it's going to be below this line. Where is it below this line? And not including when it's 0. So what I want to do is have an open circle here. These values are not included. So I'm going to say my solution set is when x is between negative 6 and 1. But I'm not going to write these underneath because they're not included, right? I can see that over here. All right, now if we turn our attention to this one, which I skipped over, if you tried it, you'll know why I skipped over it, because it's kind of an ugly one. I've got 2x squared minus 7x minus 12. When is it greater than 0? And the problem here is that this doesn't factor nicely, so we have to use the quadratic formula. So remember that is negative b, so that's going to be positive 7, plus or minus the root of that negative 7 squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And that's going to give me the intercepts. So I get 7 plus or minus root 145 over 4, which basically is about 4.8 and about negative 1.3. So I know that My parabola is going to look whatever, something like this. Whoops, I didn't go through that intercept very nicely, but there you have it. Again, it's going to be an open circle here and an open circle there. I shouldn't have drawn those as dark circles. They're open because those values are not included, right? I don't have this, so they are not included. So my solution set is, when is my function greater than 0? So that's two portions, right? This one and this one. That's above 0. So I'm going to say x is less than negative 1.3 and x is greater than 4.8. And those are my two answers for that.